Hey everyone! Welcome back to my channel. This is Alrence, a licensed real estate sales agent in New York City. And in today's video is all about investing in New York City's real estate. How to invest on a real estate property. Is investing in the city the right thing for you? You know, the basics that you need to know before pulling that trigger and investing in the Big Apple. As we all know, New York City is a very in-demand area when it comes to investing. The home prices in New York City have dramatically increased for decades. New York City is a very profitable investment if you hold it for a long period of time and rent it as well. Both time and rental will help you increase your investment significantly over the years. But before we discuss the process of investing, let us first define what is an investment property and what is cap rate, the basics that you need to know. So an investment property is a property that you purchase with the main goal of having a return through several ways. By renting it out and getting a rental income, which is called cash flow, or when you sell the property for a profit, which is called capital gains, or just maybe having both capital gains and cash flow. So cap rate is defined as an estimated return of the investor's money that was invested through real estate. It is on a form of a percentage and can be calculated by dividing the net rent of the apartment from the purchase price. So for example, you bought an apartment for $1 million and you can rent it out for $3,000 a month. So let's say the maintenance fee, the mortgage, interest, and the repairs will cost you $1,000 per month. So $3,000, that's the rent of the apartment, minus $1,000 will be all the expenses, equals $2,000 per month. So that $2,000 you need to multiply by 12 because there's 12 months in a year. So it will be equivalent to $24,000. That's your net rent because of the rent minus all the expenses. So it will be $24,000 divided by $1 million, which is the purchase price, times 100 equals 2.4% cap rate. And now you ask me, Alrence, do you think that New York City is worth the high down payment for my investment? What is New York City cap rate, and is it even considered a good cap rate? So just to explain to investors out there that New York City's cap rate is very low because the city itself is very in demand and people pay a premium for this area. However, if you hold into the property for a long period of time and rent it at the same time, you will benefit from appreciation. In areas outside the city, you will get typically a higher cap rate, but you will get less in appreciation. So it's pretty much a toss-up. And just keep in mind that New York City has a stronger appreciation and is very resilient to market fluctuations. This is why when interests are low, that buyers and investors should take the opportunity to buy, because when interest rates go up, it will be crazy. Another thing that you need to know is when the Fed increases the interest rates, typically New York City and the most in-demand areas here in the city won't be affected at all. But if you invest your money into areas with low demand, then your cap rate will be affected. It can be as high as 1% even without any changes to the property itself. If you're an investor, rising interest will mean a fall in property values. When the interest rates are up, the cost of debt rises, and that will affect your net cash flow. It will be a decrease after all. If you're buying a property to cash flow in the city, it will be hard. So the best advice that I can give you is that, like any other property out there, is that New York City is most profitable when rented throughout a longer holding period. The typical good cash flow that I can see here is 1.5 to 3%. Anything more than that, you have to take a closer look. So forget about your dream, quitting your job, and living off just by rent here, unless you have multiple doors on your portfolio. So the fourth question that's mostly asked by investors is that, can my property be depreciated? I just love it when people ask me this, because this will be one of the biggest benefits of investing a property, is for you to be able to depreciate your taxes, and that can protect your rental income from taxes as well. So yes, you can. The value of the property structures, so not the land, can be depreciated over 27.5 years. For example, you bought the property for $1 million and your share of the land will be $300,000. Therefore, your investment itself has a tax basis of $700,000, which will be depreciated over 27.5 years, which is equivalent to $25,455 a year. So let's say you rent the apartment for $3,000 a month, and after all the expenses, which is the monthlies and the common charges, it will be $1,500, because $3,000 minus $1,500 expenses will be another $1,500. So that $1,500 you need to multiply it by 12 because there's 12 months in a year. It will be in total of $18,000. That's your net rent annually. But since you have a $25,455 per year deduction, so your net rental income will be $25,455 minus $18,000, which will be $7,455. In short terms, your rental property will bring in $18,000 of cash, but only $7,455 in reported income. What a great way to save on taxes, right? For this reason, rental income has generally a lower effective tax rate compared to virtually any other investment out there. The only thing that you need to remember is that depreciation is deducted from the amount you paid and therefore will lower your cost basis of the property. So let's say you sell the property after 8 years. Therefore, you have accumulated $203,640 of depreciation. So the IRS will say that your cost basis is $796,360. This is calculated by deducting the purchase price, which is $1 million, minus $203,640 is the total of the $25,455 tax depreciation earlier that you used for 8 years before selling the property. And that's used to calculate the capital gain because there's no free lunch here, right? The fifth question that is mostly asked by investor clients that I have is that, is an investment property tax deductible? How about other deductions? And the answer here is another yes. IRS will let you deduct expenses to make or keep your rental property in good condition. This includes property taxes, repairs, and management fees. Most of the time, expenses that you can deduct from your investment property are not deductible if you are doing it on your primary residence. Another question that I get from my clients is that, what is an LLC? Should I put my investment under one? If you purchase a property through LLC, it will limit the liability of the property through this investment only. For example, John slipped while cooking in your apartment and John wants to sue you for this accident. And if the apartment is under your name, they can come on your personal assets not only in this apartment alone. Here in New York City, there's a lot of high-end buyers and property records can easily show an apartment history. If someone wants to look an apartment under your name, they can easily do so by checking the public records. However, if it's under LLC, your identity will be unknown. So the eighth question that's mostly asked by my clients is that, should I invest in a condo or a co-op? Which one is better for me as an investor? Condos are very investor friendly. There's no typical limit up to when you can rent your apartment. It's easier to buy, it's faster, you don't need to go through board interviews compared to a co-op, and also the board has nothing to say with your tenants at all. And also the board has nothing to say if you want to approve your tenant or not. There's no crazy fees to rent the unit, you control your investment. And also if you find a co-op that's very investor friendly, be careful with that because co-op rules can change anytime. So 100% I totally suggest if you're an investor, go for a condo. Another question that is asked most of the time is that, what size of a starter unit is good for New York City investors that are just starting their investment? Studios or one bedroom is best if you are just starting, though I wanted to warn you that there's a lot of competition in these units. Studios and one beds are a good starting point for those who are studying or are just starting their careers in the city. Also, a one bedroom that can be flex is a very good too because there's a lot of people who share an apartment in New York for them to be able to save money, as New York City's rent can be very, very expensive. So I would strongly recommend to start in any of these units. So the 10th question that is asked most of the time is that, where should I invest? I strongly suggest that you go for tried and tested neighborhoods in the city. The prime neighborhoods in the city can be Midtown, Flatiron, The Village, Upper West Side, Upper East Side, Tribeca. I believe it's still much better to do it this way. New York is ever changing and you can't really tell which is the next it area. But if you want to see some signs of emerging neighborhoods in the area, you will see a lot of construction and increase in buildings infrastructure. So there you have it. Thank you so much for everyone who watched this video and for all the investors out there who wants to learn on how to invest, thinking of growing your money into New York City real estate. Thanks so much for watching, guys. And if you have any questions, please feel free to comment down below, and all my contact information is out there on my bio and my descriptions also. And please don't forget to hit like and subscribe at the end of my video, and that push button for notification too, for more real estate updates and financial tips.